another level,
another devil,
exactly. Like you're not used to doing this level of work, so it's gonna take new energy and new effort. It's gonna take something new that you may not know you have inside of you. Show up as the job that you want, not the job that you have. Yeah. It's hard to show up as the boss. You may want to be a boss, but if you don't know how to walk in the room and own the presence of the room, like, it can be difficult to do the first time around. Hey guys, welcome to our very first recording of Team Lash's podcast. We're really excited because this has taken us a lot of work.
A lot of work.
Full transparency, we have been trying to get our podcast on video for quite some time, but we don't have like a big production team or anything like a lot of people hire. We're too cheap. We're Mexican, so
we're trying to figure it all out. Well,
yes.
No, Ashley's been struggling for like the last 48 hours, maybe.
Well, especially, but honestly, I've been trying to get this on for like a year, probably. So, anyways, we're really excited because we finally got it all figured out. 500 extra plugins and all this different stuff. But anyways, this is also going to be maybe our last episode of the year.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, there's only a couple of days left of the year, so this is going to be
our... You never know. We might squeeze another one in.
Maybe, I guess.
Maybe. We might squeeze another episode in. But this episode is something that Hakeem actually asked his followers on TikTok. If you guys have never tuned in before, my name's Ashley.
I'm Hakeem.
And we are husband and wife. We have been working together now, or is that what you would call it? Working together?
Yeah,
fighting together. Trying to make it work for about 2 years now. 2 years, yeah. We moved into you started doing lashes like 2.5 years ago, but we started actually working together at the shop, at your barbershop. Like 2 years ago. So we have definitely gone through a lot of seasons in the business. We own a lash company called Beautylicious Lash Academy. We sell lash supplies, lash courses, both online and in person. Hakeem is working on, he does all the classic courses. And
I'm currently working on translating our English course into Spanish. So stay tuned
for that. We're really
excited
about that. That's another thing that's been in the works for over a year.
It's just a lot of talk, but now it's time to do. So
we finally have some people who are like, we can't wait anymore.
They're pushing me to do it. So it's good.
Yeah, we're excited.
I'm excited, yeah, for sure.
And so those of you guys who are tuning in this time, you guys get to see just our blank wall. We're kind of deciding what we should do with it. I've been playing with the idea of having like lights that go in the background. Then like I always see on like the YouTube podcast that I watch, people have like cute art pieces and stuff like that. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments what you think would be cute or nice for the background. I don't want it to be too busy because
too crowded, too
cluttery. Yeah, exactly.
Because then we get cluttery, and then before we know it, the whole room's cluttered.
Yes. So. Our last house, fun fact, our last house that we lived there for 10 years. When we moved out, we got a smaller place, a nicer place, but smaller, and we basically just ditched everything.
Yeah, we got one of those big dumpsters, and we
only threw away the trash, the non-givable and sellable trash, right? But we did leave a lot of stuff behind to the people who are living there now. So anyways, that's just the kind of people we are. We're definitely trying to change our ways and not be as cluttery. But anyways, enough about that. I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of background about who we are. We live in Southern California. Hakeem is a barber, licensed barber.
Been a barber for 12 years now?
I think 13 already. Yeah. 13. I have been an esthetician. I went to sign up for beauty school in 2017. But I started in makeup before that. So we have a lot of experience between the two of us in all kinds of different areas of the beauty industry. So on this channel or this podcast, whether you're listening to this on YouTube or on your phone or something, we talk about all things business, especially with an emphasis on minorities. We really try to kind of educate, inspire, motivate.
Help, I guess what we wish we had.
Pretty much, yeah, exactly. Like
some guidance.
All the things that we never got because everyone was like trying to gatekeep. I don't know. What do you think? I feel like when I started doing makeup, the only ones who were helping us out were like the YouTubers, but also they were trying to like sell. So which is understandable. Everyone has to make a living, but I feel like there wasn't a lot of people that were just giving free game like this. Not that I found.
Yeah, I'm not I've never been like the biggest part. Looking for information, I guess I've always been like more like hands-on, like in person interactions. So
Yeah.
I guess I got lucky. I found some people that to teach me a couple things. Even now,
I think guys are different.
yeah, even now my wife is putting me up on game with all this stuff. So I've always I'm more of an in-person type of person, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't just mean online. I feel like, all those many years ago, 10 plus years ago, I just don't feel like even locally people were really trying to help each other out. I don't know. Maybe
I guess it's because
not so much people being mean, but I think social media wasn't as big either. So
and they went and they had to learn the hard way. So it's it's weird. It's like, oh, I had to learn it the hard way, so I want you to learn it the hard way type of thing. Not
Sorry,
so much.
Hakeem's learning. Be careful with the mic. You don't want to touch it. You can't hear it right now, but we'll hear the feedback on there. He's learning. I've worked with mics a little bit before, so I know to stay a little distance away. Yeah.
Okay. Learning guys.
Yeah, it's okay. You guys are gonna learn with us and grow with us. Hakeem is doing a great job. You're doing a great job.
I'm trying, guys. I'm trying.
So anyways, that brings us to really our topic, which is all about analysis paralysis. I think the episode title honestly is gonna be like how to get off your ass and just do it already, or something along those lines.
Just do it.
Just really, that's what it comes down to. Like,
don't come for us, Nike.
Yeah, definitely. Please don't. We're not making any money off this podcast. But a lot of times, especially on Hakeem's TikTok, I feel like a lot of the people who find him on TikTok are like beginners in the lash industry, right? Wouldn't you say? I don't see. I mean, you like do get them.
Yeah, kind of like people like inspiring and like kind of me like if he's doing it, I could do it. Like, yeah, for sure, beginners, I would say. Like,
very beginners, or people just thinking about becoming a lash artist. So even just business owners, sometimes they're hairstylists, nail techs, and I find a lot of people tell Hakeem, like, how did you build up the courage? Like, how do you overcome, all of the people talking smack or whatever? Like, how do you do it? And for Hakeem, his answer is always pretty blunt.
Like, I just do it. I guess I just never cared, I guess. Not that I don't care, but I don't care enough to let someone's opinion.
When it came to cutting hair and doing lashes, for sure.
Even, honestly, not that I didn't care with lashes, but I think having the experience of working, I had already have like not faith, how would I say it? Confidence. Yeah, I had confidence in working on people, which I feel like sometimes that's the scary part.
Right, yeah, because that's a question that we get all the time. Like, how, like, I think one question that really confuses Hakeem in relation, and this is really what inspired this episode, is some girl on his TikTok was like, I'm scared just to start. Like, how do I start? Like, I've been practicing. I took a course and all this stuff. And Hakeem, oh my God.
What a dick, I know.
He was such an asshole to that girl. And I don't think he meant it.
I'm sorry.
If you're listening to this.
I didn't mean it.
We made this episode for you. But multiple people have asked me this question too. Like, as a mentor and a trainer, I get asked all the time, like, Ashley, like, I feel confident. My fans look good. Like, you're always saying really good stuff about my work. But, like, why can't I just get out of my head and do it? And you know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm a little bit like Hakeem in the sense of I was doing makeup for years before I did lashes. So I guess I was comfortable working with people's faces. But we talked about this earlier because at first he was kind of like, what did you tell that girl?
I was like, honestly, that's something within you. You have to just want it and like, just do it. Yeah. It's like, but the thing is, that's not really like a good answer. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't say like, I can't do it for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
no, I felt so bad. I was on the other end of the TikTok and I was like,
my thing is, I never, even afterwards, Ashley explained to me, like, she explained to like, some points of view. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Like I did have things that factored in for my confidence. And
yeah, because I was telling him how, like, when you first started cutting hair, like, I understand that, like, it came easier, but when you first were thinking about cutting someone's hair, like your first model that you had at school, you can't tell me that you weren't a little bit nervous. I'm not saying you weren't excited. You were probably excited too, because you were like, I've been practicing on the freaking doll head, but you were nervous too.
Well, especially when you're in front of your peers, like at school and stuff like that.
But sometimes it's hard to take yourself back and remember all the things that you were feeling. And this is why, like I was telling him, I think this is a good podcast episode to make because
yeah, for sure. A lot of people struggle with that.
We've broken it down. Like, we spent some time because at first he was kind of like, what's the podcast going to be about if we talk about that? Like, they just got to do it. Like, what did you say? What was the thing you said?
Honestly, I forgot.
The TikTok sound?
Oh, just quit being a bitch and come on. You know what I mean? Like from Friday, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it does.
When Dee was like, come on, just fucking do it.
He's like, man, I don't want to get involved with y'all.
gonna get knocked. I'm saying.
I don't know. But the point is that was his immediate reaction, and I was like, Hakeem, I get that you
honestly, my thing was I had asked like, oh, well, any podcast ideas, and then she just asked the question, and I had already my I have like a ADHD, so I forgot that I asked. Not that I forgot that I asked, but I just thought she was asking me a question on live, and I was like, I mean,
because her question was like, what are some tips for somebody who has been practicing but is afraid to get to do the first person? And he immediately thought she was asking him, or I understood she wanted us to talk about it on the podcast.
Because then I could talk, like I said, a lot of times I don't see like the big picture. I don't. It's hard for me sometimes to take a step back and like
pull your head out of your ass,
and then look at how did I do it. Sometimes I just think I just did it. Like, oh, I just fucking woke up one day and I said, oh, I'm gonna do this. It's gonna get done, but.
There was layers to it. There were steps to it.
For sure.
And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to tell you guys what we feel would be most beneficial for you to not only obviously you want to overcome that fear. That's what it is. It all comes down to fear. But we have some things. We wrote them down because this is not just conversational. This is definitely like educational. And we really want to give you guys some steps, like what you can do. So the first thing that we feel, because both of us kind of felt like came to terms that we both had those experiences, right?
For sure.
And for me, it was definitely traveling and doing someone's makeup at their house. Like when they would come to my house, I was like, I don't know, I felt like I was in my own domain, you know?
And no one's going to judge me here.
What are you going to do? You know, worst case scenario. But when you're at someone's house and their mom is there and their sister's there and people are watching, it's like the pressure is on. I remember dripping sweat at this girl's house when it was my first homecoming girl. I was like, oh my God, this is where the first one comes from, is imposter syndrome.
Oh, hands down.
A lot of times the reason that you're afraid to go for it and just do that new thing. Now, this may not be your first client as a lash artist that you're afraid of. Maybe it's getting your first student when you first teach your course. Maybe it's selling products online and you're afraid to even post about it because you don't want to tell people that you're now selling products. Maybe it's, I don't know, opening an online store. I don't know, like anything that's new that you would be doing in your business.
It always takes a little bit of extra courage to do
it's
anything. It's new to you.
What does Chula Baby say? Another level,
another devil. You know?
Like that's really what it is. Like you're not used to doing this level of work, so it's gonna take new energy and new effort. It's gonna take something new that you may not know you have inside of you. And so when you're first having to be that person, basically that's like that saying, what is it? Show up as the job that you want, not the job that you have. Yeah. It's hard to show up as the boss. You may want to be a boss, but if you don't know how to walk in the room and own the presence of the room, like it can be difficult to do the first time around. So all that really stems from imposter syndrome, really stems from just thinking that you might fail.
Just overthinking.
Yeah. Well, all of these are overthinking.
Yeah.
But the main emphasis of what you're worried about is that you're afraid that you might fail. You might not succeed. You might try to teach a course and it sucks ass. And then everyone around town finds out that you're the worst trainer. That's what you think will happen. Doesn't mean that's exactly how it's going to go. Even if you don't slam dunk it, like Hakeem always tells me.
I feel like, sometimes we get in our own heads and we think stuff is going to be so much
like, worse. Hey, our daughter. Oh my God, our daughter has this. Our daughter has imposter syndrome big time. She's like freaks out when she's going to try something new or when she doesn't do like she's not the best.
Yeah, when she's doing her homework and for whatever reason she did 5 other problems really fast and there was no problem, but the 6th one is getting to her and then it just throws her off for the rest of them. Like, and
then her dad tells her, Haley, why? She starts getting to the point where she's like trembling and she's like stuttering and she's like and she can't talk, and Hakeem will tell her like,
what doesn't happen? Like what's the worst thing that's gonna happen? Like, I always tell her like, do we hit you? Like
we don't hit our kids. We
can
count on our hands how many times we've yelled at them, like raised our voice, and we're not because like we're perfect parents, but we try really hard to be patient and understanding that they're kids. Our kids are only 10 and 4. They're not teenagers, adults.
Yeah, they're not like fighting us right now. Like,
right, exactly. So I feel like that's something that we do. And so maybe that's something that like you could do if you feel like you relate to that. And that's the reason that you don't want to start this new thing or whatever it is. And you think you might fail and you're having imposter syndrome. It's also called performance anxiety. If you're feeling that, try to level with yourself. What is the worst thing that could happen? Like
truly, what's really going to happen if you try it and you do mess it up? And what's really going to happen? Like, are you going to die?
Yeah, seriously, like you have to do that. That's so what we're gonna do is we're basically gonna go through what are the 6 like root reasons of why you might be afraid to go forth and like take a leap of faith or take that risk or whatever it is that you're afraid of. And so that's the first one, is that you're afraid that you're gonna fail. You might fail. And then the next one is kind of similar to that. Honestly, all of these kind of overlap.
They're all kind of overlapping.
But honestly, each one of us kind of has like a main thing. You might fail 4 of these, but there's going to be one that you associate with the most. Yeah. And so the next one that we realize that a lot of people experience and what holds them back is the possibility of ridicule. So not so much that you're afraid to fail, because maybe you don't actually care about failing, but it's that public humiliation. It's the,
what are people going to say?
Exactly. Anyone, right? Like strangers or other lash artists or other trainers or other brand owners, whatever it is you're trying to do. Maybe like competition. What is the competition?
Yeah, it's like when everyone, like, not that everyone does lashes now, but I know doing lashes became really popular, and I remember everyone was saying, oh, it was all over Instagram. Everyone's a lash artist now. Like
all of our students were telling us that people were saying that. And like, so that idea of like, oh, how's everyone going to feel that I'm just another lash artist? So, I mean, that's how I felt when I got pregnant. I was deeply depressed the first time we got pregnant. I was like, great, I am just another 805 baby mama, ghetto homegirl that just got knocked up right out of high school to some guy that she barely knew who's probably going to be out of the picture in a couple months. Like, that's genuinely what I thought. And I spiraled into a really dark depression. I have to stop going to school because I was so sick. Like, oh my God, my life is over. I'm going to be a welfare baby mama. No offense if you're listening to this and you feel like that's you. I'm not targeting you. That's just not something that I wanted for myself. You know, like my parents worked really hard to stay or get out of the drug scene and get out of all that stuff. Like my family made a lot of sacrifices and hard choices to provide me with a life that I would have opportunities. So for me and I kind of skipped over. Honestly, I skipped down to another one. I wasn't so concerned about what other people would say when it came to my fears. I am going to skip down. But disappointing my loved ones. I feel like that's a little bit different than what people will think of you, right?
Yeah,
like
different.
People shaming, like making fun of you is not so much what I was worried about. I could handle that. I grew up a big girl. Like I'm also a very nerdy big girl. So getting made fun of, I'm no stranger to that. But my concern was my parents, my grandmother, my mom and my dad, my little cousins who we helped raise, my brother.
I don't want them to think that their sacrifice was for nothing.
Exactly. With your mom,
yeah, for sure.
Same thing. Like his mom came here. She was an immigrant, came here from Mexico and like worked in the field, just like my grandma. And, so many sacrifices were made for us that it's like when you're like the generation of kids who grow up speaking English, it's almost like it's your job
to do better. I mean, you should always try to do better, but it's
almost
like, like that story was your mom was like, oh, I was walking barefoot to school through the mountains, through a couple rivers, stepping on sharp rocks on the way there, like, and then you're thinking like, oh, your life is so cozy. You're supposed to, so it's like, yeah, like you're supposed to. If
we're like their legacy, where they live vicariously through us.
Their life, Polly,
it was significantly harder.
It was significantly harder,
right? And we recognize that, but that's the point. Is like, because they sacrificed, they didn't have as much fun. They didn't go as many vacations. They didn't go out to dinner as much as we do. They made so many hard sacrifices, and like they sacrificed pleasure for us that like the idea of me failing at my business, so it almost made me not want to start. All the times that Hakeem had told me, why don't you just go to beauty school and get your license so that you can be a full-time makeup artist? And I would just be like, that's not a real job. I was repeating what
your parents would tell you.
What other people would tell me. Like, that's not stable. That's not secure. Like, don't go down that route. And at the end of the day, it wasn't me that thought that. My husband was doing it. My husband owned a business. Like, he bought a bar. You know how many barbers have been around? It's one of the oldest professions.
It's not going. Being a barber is not going anywhere.
And yet he started a business and then bought a business and was doing just fine and providing for us while I went to college and worked some crappy job. Ew.
I had a hair or something.
Oh,
I was like trying to. I felt like I had some hair or something right here. I was like, let me get that shit.
I'm just like deep as an emotional conversation. You got an ear booger.
It was like bugging me. I was like, get this hair out of here.
anyways, like I had an example right next to me, and his mom too. His mom was a hairstylist, and so
for me it's a little bit different. My family was like
they encourage
entrepreneurship. Yeah, for sure. A bunch of my uncles own business from Mexico, like
even back there.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like even my family in Mexico owns like businesses and stuff. So for me, it wasn't so crazy. Like the idea of being your own boss wasn't the craziest thing in the world. But for Ashley, her family was big on like being secure, like
getting a government job,
get your 401k, get insured. Not that those things are bad.
You should still do those, even as an entrepreneur, by the way.
But it's just, I guess that wasn't like my main like. No one was pushing me to do that route. Honestly,
they were trying to push him to do whatever he wanted.
Exactly. My mom actually pushed me to do whatever I wanted. If I would have wanted.
I mean, my parents did too, but whatever you want in
this bubble right here, you could pick any of these jobs.
But I think a lot of that stems from the fact that they felt they were incapable of doing those things. It's not because they were trying to restrict me. It's because my dad can't.
Because they wish they could. Yeah.
Exactly. My dad can't. He's a 2-time convicted felon. Like he cannot get a job at the DMV like I had. He cannot become a school-age teacher. He can't do those things. He could try to become a college professor, but who knows if they'll even hire him at college at the collegiate level. So things like that, or my mom, like she had me when she was young. So it's not so much that she couldn't, because her record's completely clean, but in her mind, she couldn't, So that was big for me. And if that's something for you, a lot of times, you might feel like you don't have support, or you feel like you're in it alone. And those kind of go hand in hand. And if you feel like that, that's the real reason. So it's not so much that you're afraid to fail, but maybe in this position, you just feel like very alone and you don't want to risk it. Another reason why you might be feeling resistance and not wanting to kind of take that leap of faith in yourself might be that you have unrealistic expectations. And this is something I feel like Hakeem could talk to you the most about, because I feel like I'm not like that. I have really bad anxiety. I never have unrealistic expectations. I never go into something thinking like it's going to be easy, or thinking like...
I think that's just I feel like the era that we're in right now too, because on social media, everyone posts their wins, but they never post like their losses, or,
I do,
or like how hard it was to get there. When it's not that I didn't post it either, because at the end of the day, when I first started, now I'm kind of on social media, but for the longest time I would never post anything. So like through my struggles, everything, I didn't post my wins. So like it wasn't so much about like hiding it either. It was just, but people don't, and I'm not saying they're doing it maliciously, but it's just, that's just not what we're posting.
When people are trying to start a business, a lot of times they think like,
it's easy. I'm just gonna buy this thing and it's just gonna fly off the shelves, or I'm gonna learn how to do lashes in a weekend because everyone's publicizing that if you take my
3-day course,
take my course, and you're gonna make $100,000 a year, and they don't tell you that before you make 100,000, you gotta make 10,000. You gotta make 1,000. You gotta get one person in your.
How many people have taken our courses and told us like, oh, I'm doing this because I'm on leave from my work for 2 months, and so I want to quit my job before I have to go back. And I'm looking at them like,
it takes
girl, how much do you make at your job? Maybe you should make this a side hustle first,
Yeah, for sure.
But they have these unrealistic expectations. And
I'm not saying that you can't do it, but you have to understand that there's going to be to get there
a lot of effort.
A lot of effort. Yeah, it's not like how social media portrays it to be that, like I said, like you do a little quick course and you blow up the next week.
No, it's definitely not like that. I mean, I don't know anyone like that.
And anything, not just in lashes. I'm talking about like, I didn't learn how to cut hair overnight. I didn't go to barber school.
I think a lot of people think you blew up overnight because of TikTok, but even then, you had already been lashing for like a year before you even got on TikTok.
Yeah. And
you had perfected the classic lashing before you even got there.
Yeah.
So that's like a whole thing people don't realize either. A lot of girls are now teaching their husbands how to do lashes.
Because even back then, I had, like they said, like the imposter syndrome, where I didn't want to post because I didn't want people to make fun of me if I make an ugly set.
That's exactly. Hakeem thought he never had none of this, but he did too.
Yeah, everybody. I mean, like I said, sometimes you gotta just take a step back and realize that you don't know everything. And even though I might think sometimes like, oh, I didn't deal with that, but then I gotta remember I did. I have those
you don't
issues.
Know everything?
I mean, I know a lot, guys. I know a lot, but
well, you got me pregnant after only 3 months, so you must have knew that I was gonna be amazing. So. Okay, so the next one that we have is that you're already super busy. Another thing that might be holding you back from like really like just diving in and giving it your all, whatever it is, right? You're listening to this, you've gotten this far into this episode, there is something that you are holding out on, something that you haven't allowed yourself to take a risk in. And it might be because you're already really busy. Maybe it's a second business, or maybe it's an additional form of money. Maybe it's, I don't know, something else. But it might be because you already have, a job and already busy.
A decent amount of income coming in that
exactly
that it makes you pretty comfortable. So it's kind of hard to like take the foot off the first one because it's understandable.
Or you have a day job that's keeping you alive, and so you're like, yeah, I want to start making jewelry, right? I want to start doing waist beads or whatever it is that you're passionate about. Maybe like you have that already, but you're like, but I haven't poured all into it yet because I'm already really busy, right? And I get that. I totally get that. And I think like one thing Hakeem talks about a lot is that just is really you just staying in your comfort zone. Like you don't want to get uncomfortable, and that's okay to feel that way.
It's hard, honestly. It's hard. Like I was comfortable for a long time with the
barbershop. We are even with our gaining weight.
Yeah,
I mean, we struggle with that big time. Just getting into working out, and eating healthier, and sticking to it. So everyone goes through that to some capacity.
Yeah, for sure. Being comfortable, it's hard. Like it's so hard to just be like, oh,
today's the day.
Today's the day.
I'm not going back. Yeah, for sure.
There's gonna be a moment that it does happen though. Like what that's gonna be like the breaking point that you're like,
yes.
If I keep on going in this trajectory,
yeah, yes.
Ashley always corrects me when I try to use big words. So
it's because he uses a big word and he says it right, but he uses it in the wrong way.
But you guys understand. You guys don't.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, so keep going.
If you like the point, that you realize that if you keep on going and in 5 years, people that are in the same boat as you, they're gonna be there, and then you're not, and then it's the thought that I guess that's the moment that kind of, like I said,
not like rock bottom, but just,
it's like, but it just clicks for you, like damn, like is this really what I want to do? Like, because time. I know time flies because my oldest daughter's 10 years old now, and
10 and a half.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like I said, like Ashley said, I got her pregnant after 3 months, and look at me now, like with the 10-year-old. So
it goes like that.
Yeah, so people.
And if you're not happy or you want more, see, this is a common misconception. I feel like
you don't always need more or have to do more.
Exactly.
If you're happy with where you're at, that's perfect. Like that's good. Like,
but what I was gonna say is that like a lot of people think that by leaving your job or starting a new job or starting a side hustle or whatever, like that means that you're not happy or you're not grateful with what you have going on. And that's not necessarily what it means. Maybe you just want something more fulfilling. Maybe your job where you are right now already makes good money, but you want to start doing hair or nails or whatever because you want to feel good about what you do.
You don't feel challenged at work. You're pushing a couple buttons a day and you're like...
And it's like already, what is it called?
It's like an
muscle memory.
Yeah, it's just literally like...
autopilot. You're not even thinking about it. And that's not fulfilling. Humans are not meant to like just do the same thing day in and day out. We're meant to be challenged. We're meant to be creative and all that. So I think like if you're comfortable where you are, that's going to be also, what do they say? Comfort is the
enemy of success.
Exactly. So if you want to be successful in this new career or whatever it is, you're going to have to get uncomfortable and be okay with that. And so the last one is that you're antisocial. And this one I feel like is a little bit more unique than the others, but it is also a form of fear, right? Antisocial has a lot to do with being afraid of social environments. And so a lot of people don't want to get into a new business because they know they're going to have to market themselves. They know that
any business you have to kind of get antisocial to some extent. I'm not saying you have to go out and...
You have to get social.
Yeah. You have to get social.
What I mean?
Sorry, guys. Sorry, but yeah, you definitely have to get social in any business that you're doing. I guess you don't have to be like me and make TikTok videos, but you definitely...
And you don't have to like be like me and walk up to random people and just start conversations.
But you do have to.
But notice you're here listening to us. I mean, real talk. Like you're listening to us for a reason, and so even though yes, you don't have to do those things, they work.
But they will catapult your business.
Exactly. So that's where a lot of people say, well, I'm not social. I feel like I can never do hair because I'm not social. Whenever I've gone to the hair salon, the girls are always talking and gossiping and all this stuff. And that's just not my vibe. Then I feel like at the end of the day, that what that comes down to is you just not wanting to change who you are. And that's okay too. That's something that is totally okay. You'd be surprised how many people come to me for lashes and they make it very clear, like subliminally, that they don't want to talk. They don't want to chat. They don't want to tell me about their lives.
They want to take a nap.
They want to come. Usually they smell like weed, and they just fall asleep. And I know that, okay, this is not a chatty girl. She just wants to be left alone. Perfect. I love those clients.
Yeah, me too. I love those clients.
I love those clients because they make my job way easier. I'm done way faster. But just be aware that just because you feel like maybe you're not as social as the other girls online doesn't mean you can't be successful at that business. You just got to find your way. You have to figure out what customers, what clients want to buy from somebody like you.
They want to just come and hang out and just silence.
There are people like that.
Yeah, for
there
sure.
Are, yeah.
A lot, yeah.
So as you can see, these are 6 different things that we feel like would be the main causes for why you would be like nervous, scared, or just a little bit insecure or whatever to take that leap of faith in yourself. And we just kind of wanted to break it down so you can see that, maybe you relate with all of them. Maybe you kind of connect with every single one of them. And that's okay. But it's just important to really identify what your cause is. Maybe there's a main 1 or a main 2. Because the truth is, you're going to have to deal with those. That's the reality.
Yeah, there's no getting around it. You're going to have to get through it.
Yeah, you're going to the only way to it is through it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's the truth. You're going to have to just sit down and listen to this all over again and be like, okay, what are the main reasons why I haven't, taken that leap? And once you identify that, you figure out which one of those you associate with the most, being afraid of failure, or maybe it's the ridicule. You have way too high expectations for yourself, or maybe you're afraid of disappointing your family and friends, you're super busy, or you're antisocial, which one of those it is. Maybe it's a different one. If you feel like it's something totally different, we would love for you to comment below this or leave a review on the podcast page so that we can find out, because we don't know everything. This is just something that we came up with that we feel like we've heard people talk about in the past. And we try to break it down a little bit so you can kind of get a clearer picture. Our goal, our hope for this was that you identify yourself with one of those, and then you're able to realize oh, I'm not incapable. I'm not a degenerate. I'm just overthinking, and you're creating scenarios in your mind that haven't even happened yet. You're making yourself sick and you're holding yourself back. And that's the main key thing that we want to stress here, is that you think that you're protecting yourself and being responsible or being I don't know, selfless or whatever by not doing. But at the end of the day, maybe you're thinking, once it's perfect, once I'm ready, right?
Nothing's ever perfect.
But nothing's ever perfect. And you're literally just hurting yourself and hurting your growth. And not only that, but how much it sucks to have started practicing something and then gotten really good at it, but then never took the leap. And then you see somebody else just kind of go for it. And
yeah, trust me. Like I said, I remember one of my cousins, he started cutting hair, and he wasn't the best, but at least I'll give him one thing I would give him is that he had all the confidence in the world. After he finished barber school, he's like, I got it. And he would get cuts, yeah, just on the based on his confidence, because he's like, yeah, I got you, best haircuts coming up. It was just funny, like I said, because that's what it was. He would pump himself up,
Mm-hmm.
Even though he wasn't the best, but he did improve, and he improved fast because he never shied away from a haircut.
Exactly.
He just, and once he was in it, he was I'm not saying
there was a girl in my beauty school that was sitting at the front of the class, and she sat at the front, I think because she genuinely wanted to do a good job and learn a lot, and she really had a passion for aesthetics. And I swear to you, I'm not exaggerating. This girl, okay, you're supposed to have a certain amount of points. Most of you in here probably went to beauty school. The way it works, you're supposed to get points. You get points, a certain amount of points for facials, a certain amount of points for waxing, a certain amount of points for makeup. And in order to get all your hours and pass state board and all that, you have to have a certain amount of points in each one, right? And so I was just thinking about how I basically faked all my points because all I did was makeup and lashes the whole time. I literally never did any facials. But anyways, this girl would practice on her doll head. You can get points for practicing on your doll head, by the way. It's still points because you're practicing. She would literally sit and practice on her doll head doing facials, never on people. And she'd be like, I want it to be perfect. I want it to be perfect. I'm going to have the perfect massage. I'm going to memorize effleurage and, all these different maneuvers that she would. And I remember looking at her and be like, okay, well, I'm going downstairs to go do some girls' lashes. And she would be like, Ashley, you haven't mastered this, you haven't mastered that. And I remember looking at her thinking,
you'll never be the master. How are you gonna get to be the master? It's when people are trying to get a new job. I remember I seen the postings for semi drivers or something you need to be have years of experience to get this position.
How am I gonna have years of experience?
Yeah, how?
Well, this girl, she was practicing for state board and all this stuff. And guess what? She still works at Petco, till this day. What is it, almost 6 years later, like she works at Petco still. And that's no shade, by the way. No shame in working at Petco. I'm just saying that like she never even she got her license, but she never did anything with it. Probably because by the time she was out of beauty school, she hadn't worked on any real people. So when she wanted to get paying clients, they were probably like, what experience do you have? Like you said, you know? Whereas me, I was like, F it, $40. What's up?
Okay, guys, when you start, it's not going to be great.
No.
But every single time, even if it's 10% or 5% better, 2%, even if it's just 1 or 2% better every single time, the more you do it, the better you're gonna get to 100%. A lot quicker.
There's that saying, that girl from Thousand Lashes, I forgot her name. I don't want to butcher her name. But Thousand Lashes, when I first started doing lashes, I remember I sucked so bad because my course was so horrible.
Everyone sucks in the beginning at everything.
And I remember her making I remember telling him, I don't think I'm going to do it. I'm just going to be classic. I'm not going to do volume. I suck at it. But then I saw other girls that were in my class doing volume and like being really good at it. And I remember thinking like, how the heck are they getting good so fast? And I remember this video that came up from Thousand Lashes. She was like, she said she heard it from someone else. Basically, in a nutshell, there's a cup, right? There's a cup, and in the cup, everybody has a cup. And the way that a lot of people think that the way you become a master at something is you fill it up with successes, like 1 win, 2 wins, 3 wins, right? But it's actually not true. The way you become successful, the way you become a master at something is by filling it up with failures. And that was like, blow my mind. Like, what do you mean blow it up with failures? And she says that the more failures you put, it's a numbers game. So the more failures you have, the more successes you're going to have too. And if you're so worried about only putting successes in your cup, you're never going to fill up your cup. So she's like, you're never going to get that good because you're so worried about it being good that you're not going to do it. But meanwhile, the girl who keeps failing 20 times is also going to succeed 5 times. But you're only going to succeed once out of the 2
and
times.
Eventually they tilt, like the failures go
past the success, or
the successes past the failures.
Exactly. But you have to start there. And so you learn a lot quicker by doing than you do by watching or thinking. You don't get good at something by thinking about it, let me tell you.
Yeah, no.
So I feel like that was really big for me. And so again, it's just costing you to wait. It's costing you, and that's what happened. These girls got way better at volume than I did. And I was actually practicing with somebody who teaches courses, and yet they got quicker than me. And that's what I was finally like, you know what? I'm going to figure it out. I don't care if I suck. So I started out, fun fact, when I first started doing volume, I started by just doing 2 fans on somebody. Like I wouldn't even tell them. They were getting classic, and wherever they had like a little sparse area or a gap, I'd put 1 fan. And then 1 fan on the other eye in the same area. And then the next time I do 2 more. And the next time 3 more. And before you know it, they're like, my lashes are so full. I'm like, oh yeah, they're basically hybrid at this point. And that's how I started. But I didn't go balls in and just start doing volume. I did baby steps. But people don't want to wait.
Yeah, you got to get 3% better every time. You don't get 100%. You don't get 50% better overnight. It's like little by little. Yeah, people are in this race. Like I said, it's. I don't blame you guys so much. Because at the end of the day, like I said, it's the era we live in with social media, and everyone. You see people blowing up overnight, but like I actually said earlier, I didn't hop on social media until I even felt comfortable with the sets I was doing. So you guys didn't even know I had already been practicing before I hopped on. I didn't just, you know what I mean? Like, so of course it seems that everyone's just good overnight. They just took a course and no, it takes work. Everybody's putting in work. Everyone that's good, at least. Everyone. Yeah. They didn't just...
And probably what those people did, more than likely, is they weighed things out. And that's something that we recommend and we, encourage you guys to do too. If you still are like, okay, I realize what's wrong. I realize what my problem is. I know that I need to just do it already. But like, how can I... logistically, how can I like make it make sense, right? How can I convince myself? You basically literally need to convince yourself. But how do you do that? Something that's very tactical and a real way that you could do that is write it down. Write a list. I know it sounds so cheesy, but it could work. Like maybe, obviously, just convincing yourself in your head isn't working. Yeah. So you might as well try something. If this sounds cheesy and it sounds really woo-woo, I'm sorry, but clearly you're listening to this podcast because you're struggling with taking a leap of faith in something. Maybe it's raising your prices. Maybe that's what it is for you. Maybe you already are doing services and you already have a business, but you are afraid to raise your prices. But you're super booked already, and like you have the proof is in the pudding that you're capable, but you just haven't done it yet. weigh out the pros and cons. You know, maybe you don't want to work weekends anymore. Maybe you're tired of working weekends and you are already busy, but you're afraid that if you stop working weekends, you're going to lose all your clients and no one's going to come to you, right? So weigh out your pros and cons and figure out, like, by continuing to do things the way that I am, what are the good things, right? What are some of the good things? You're probably not going to find a ton, but what are some of the good things? And then what are some of the bad things? Like, what are you risking? What are you losing? What are you sacrificing by continuing to stay in the space that you're in today? And then make a whole separate list doing the same thing for if you were to do the thing that it is that you want to do. What would be the good things? What would be the pros? What would be the benefits of you doing that? My guess is a lot. The fact that you want to do it, there's probably a lot of pros. And then also do the cons. Like, what are the things you're afraid of? What are the possible, like Hakeem said, what's the worst that could happen? And when you weigh those out, if the goods of the possible thing and the bads of your current life outweigh the opposites, like, you should be able to freaking convince yourself. It's like in plain writing and piece of paper. Like, you should be able to. I think we've done that before. We've weighed out when we first decided that Hakeem was gonna not work and I was gonna work. We weighed it out. We were like, how much money can I make? How much money can you make? You know, what is my schedule like? What is your schedule like? You know, we weighed it out. We've done this with bills too.
With everything, yeah.
We've done this so many times, like written it out. Like, okay, is it better if you do this or I do this? And we weigh it out because sometimes it's hard when you have all these thoughts all in your mind and you're like, I don't know, there's just too much to process. You're overwhelmed, basically. You're overwhelmed.
There's something about seeing it on a piece of paper. Like, it
makes it real. Yeah, it really makes it real. So that's something that we've done a bunch of times. Even when it comes down to like deciding who's going to do what in the company, in the business, like we've had to sit down and be like, well, what can you do and what can I do? And then weigh things out. It's like, okay, you know what? My load is still a lot larger than yours. Can you find any of these that maybe you could learn how to do? Like, sometimes you just have to. Otherwise, we're going to end up divorced. Like, you know, we have to do things like that too till this day. So don't feel like it's silly or you're like, oh my God, I feel like a little kid. Like, this is real shit. Like, you have to think about stuff, especially when you're like your income and your family's lives depend on it. Sometimes you need to just like, you know, write it down. That's something that I could definitely say. One thing that Hakeem talks about a lot, if you're feeling like this overthinking where it's like holding you up, causing resistance and preventing you from doing something, Hakeem always talks about like your circle, right? Like who's around you.
Yeah, for sure. That definitely has something to do with it. Like if you have people that are encouraging you and supporting you, like some people, sometimes my own friends would push me to like cut. Like I remember when I first started cutting hair, my nephew was like, "Just cut me up. I don't care if you fuck it up." Like sometimes you need people around you that are like.
It helps that he was broke.
Yeah, but yeah, for sure. No, yeah. Whoever that, the point is, I'm sure you
can't be picky.
Yeah, I'm sure there has to be someone in your life that is betting on you doing this because they want to go to you, and those people honestly they support you a lot. Like I said, some of my oldest friends, I would just the other day, Nestor. He actually went with me he actually drove me to State Board. He wanted
in LA, an hour away.
He would let me cut him up. Like he actually, like he really wanted me to be a barber. Like he wanted.
And through all the schedule changes, location changes. I mean, I'm not cutting hair anymore. I am cutting hair. I'm at the shop. I'm at my house. I'm traveling to through all the changes of Hakeem's business. Like Nestor has been there. And is Nestor your favorite client?
He's probably not my favorite client.
And that's the point, though. My point in saying that was not to make fun of Nestor or make fun of Hakeem. My point was that sometimes the people that are going to give you a chance and they're going to support you and push you and be just nice are not always going to be your favorite clients. They're not always going to have the easiest hair to cut or the easiest lashes to do. They're not always going to have a ton of followers. They're not always going to be super active on social media. They may not take care of their lashes. Like, you know what I mean? Like they may not be the perfect client. And that's where the whole unrealistic expectations comes in. You can't think that, well, I want my friend that has 20,000 followers and goes live all the time to let me do her lashes. She might not because she already has someone or she doesn't want to be your guinea pig, you know, but that's okay. Like, you got to be okay with taking what you get, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. Take what you get. Anyone, like I said, anyone that's supportive, like,
they're there.
They're there.
I don't care if you are an only child. I mean, doesn't even have parents. You know what I mean? Hakeem, not to put all your business out there, but I'm just saying, like, you don't exactly have a huge family that lives here. Yeah. You know, his brothers and sisters are all over the place.
Pretty much all my friends, like, all my best friends, like, from high school
and junior high,
they
helped you build your business.
They were a big part of it, yeah, because they let me mess up their haircuts so many times, like I said, but they were supportive because they wanted it to go to a friend to get their haircut. Exactly. So they saw big picture too. They're like, if I could go to anyone to hang out with during the week, I want to go to Hakeem. Mm-hmm. So it benefited them that I would get good too. Mm-hmm. So they were okay with me messing them up. And some people.
And luckily for you, it's hair, and so, like, comes right off. Like, I mean, it grows back. Like lashes, it shouldn't be that hard to find a couple people to practice on because they come right off. Now, you may have to work for free or next to free.
If you're doing, like, tattoos, I guess it might be a little harder because tattoos are permanent. Or, you know what I mean?
Like, if you're doing tattoos or permanent makeup or something, try to do people out of town, not locally. Yeah. Because you don't want your work living on. But yeah, I feel like there are people. And I think, like, what it comes down to is people are afraid to ask a lot of times. And that's something that you just got to find a way to overcome because, again, it brings you back to the, you know, is this where you want to stay? Is this the life you want to continue to live, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, if you could do free work in anything, I would say do the free work.
Because then the expectations aren't high.
Yeah, expectations aren't high, and it builds the confidence. It's hard to charge. Yes. It's hard to charge for something when you don't have confidence in your work. So doing the free work builds your confidence to be able to charge for a service. So I feel like...
I agree, for sure. I'm not saying that you're not worth it. I know all these coaches say, charge your worth, don't do free work. And, like, I get that philosophy. I do. I'm not trying to bash those people. But I also want to say that if you don't have the confidence to charge, that's probably why you haven't charged. It's not because you're not good. It's not because you don't even want to practice. It's because you don't know if you are confident in your work enough to charge. So then don't.
Yeah. So then don't. Get your practice. And everybody, I did free haircuts for a while. I did, even when I first started lashing, I was accepting tips, but it was free. I was like, you know what? I was telling my friends, sisters, girlfriends, everyone.
I still do free work.
Yeah, for sure.
Fun fact: my full sets start at $250. My fills start at $130. And I still occasionally will take someone for free. If there's a style that I want to do and I want to show off my skills or I want to show off a new product that we sell or whatever it is that may be, like, I'll literally DM someone. I won't post it on Instagram saying, hey, looking for free models. That's a big mistake, by the way. I reach out to somebody specifically and say, hey, like, I love your eye color or whatever. I love your face structure. I would love to do this specific style on you. Would you be interested? And in exchange for me to take photos and videos. And that's what I do. Like, I still do that till this day. So if you think like, oh, I can't work for free, then that might be part of the problem.
Might be part of the problem too. Everyone, everything takes time, like I said, and hard work, and it's hard.
That's not what you want to hear.
And it's not going to be, like I said, you don't just take a course and start charging the big bucks. You have to get there, and building the confidence it's gonna help a lot with doing the free work.
Yeah, having the confidence. Really what all of these come back to, though. All of these things, being afraid of failure, afraid of ridicule, of too high of expectations, all that stuff stems from being insecure.
But if you're doing the the expectations aren't as high if the work is free. So it's kind of like a weight off your shoulders. Well, whereas if you're charging, even if you're just charging $100 for a set of lashes, like the pressure's gonna be on you. I remember.
Well, especially if you've never made that much money, even $100 for a full set. Let's say hypothetically it takes you 4 hours to do a full set when you first start, right? When you're first getting comfortable. If it takes you 4 hours to do a full set and you get $100, and let's say they tip you 120, you can give or take guess they'll probably give you like $20. Not always. Not saying you should expect it, but it's common. So at 4 hours for $120, that's $30 an hour that you're making, right? If you're coming from a job that was minimum wage, here in California, $12 an hour, to now $30 an hour, of course you're going to have imposter syndrome. Yeah. Of course. You've never made that much money. You don't even know if your work is worth that much money, because the only amount that any agency, any business has ever told you that you were worth, your time was worth $12 an hour to them. So of course you're afraid. So it's okay that you're afraid. It's okay that you're insecure. But remember, you're just gonna stay where you are then,
the growth happens in like the free work. I feel like it really
I think so too.
Like that's where like a lot of like the real growth happens. Like
model
the
sets.
sacrifice. It's like when Kobe said like everyone wants to get the championship, but no one wants to come into the gym and put in the work. It's not. Kobe was practicing after practice. They get paid to go to practice, and he was still
and before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they have a set practice that they had to go to, but he was still overtime practicing before and after.
Yep.
So it's in the free work.
He was there before anyone and thereafter.
All the real growth happens when no one's paying you for it. Because that's when you know.
When we had the
that's when you know you
when
really
we had
want
the
it.
salon, the salon opened at 10, and I got there every day at about 7:45. After I dropped the kids off at school, I'd get there at 7:45, and then I would make notes for all the staff what they needed to do. The girls would get there, take their clients, leave, and I was still there working until 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock filming at night because that's when the salon was closed. Like, I was there working 12 hours minimum a day, and very often. And
she wasn't. I'm not saying it didn't pay out in the long run, but I'm saying in that moment, that's like free. Like I said, it's like free work.
It was free work. Yeah, it is. This is free work. One day, someone's gonna pay us to advertise their business on our podcast. One day, we're gonna get paid from this, but today we're not, and that's okay.
That's okay, guys.
You have to be okay with that, and sometimes it means filming at 9 o'clock at night when after your kids go to bed. Like it's not always as glamorous as, sometimes it means no longer taking clients in our home and removing things around and turning your downstairs Lash studio into
a podcast room.
Yeah. Sometimes it means like cutting back in certain areas so that you can, invest. Is really just investing. And I think hopefully you got, you connected with some of the stuff we're talking about. We could talk about this honestly all day. But I hope that you connected and you found yourself in at least one of those, and you're able to take some of the actionable tasks that we gave you and run with it. And if you do, definitely let us know, because we really want you guys to get started with whatever it is that you're trying to, do. If you have other ideas for episodes or anything,
please comment them below.
Yes, comment them below. And now that this is on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. If you aren't already, and we're so grateful.
Yeah, we really are. We're gonna put out one a week, but
at least one. But we're gonna try two. We're gonna shoot guarantee for two. One, but we're going to shoot for two, and we want you guys to hold us to it. Comment below if you don't see one.
Where are you guys at?
Yes, please. We appreciate that, because sometimes
everyone.
Right now, you have to understand, we're talking to a screen that has like a camera.
Sometimes people holding you accountable really makes you.
Yes. So right now it's just us, and it's like when you first leave high school and you go to college, and the professor literally doesn't care if you show up.
Yeah, that's why
how it feels for us.
That's why I dropped out of college, because no one cared.
I cared. I signed up. I had you sign up for class with me.
Okay, but the teacher didn't care.
Yeah,
that's why I wanted.
I care. So, anyways, thank you guys again, and hopefully we'll be able to see you guys, in real life pretty soon. We have a few things coming up. We're gonna be in Austin in April, right?
Austin. Lash Boss Summit.
Yes, Lash Boss Summit. Hakeem and I will be speaking at Lash Boss Summit. And then I'll be speaking at LashCon in October, and we'll be a sponsor for that. So hopefully you guys get to see us there. And where else? We're going to be attending Lash Fest in July. Dallas. Yeah, so we have a lot of fun stuff going on. I'll be speaking at the Lash convention in Washington, D.C. with BLB Sherlin, as well as in Houston, Texas in August, which is going to be hosted with a Wicked Business Experience by Wednesday. So hopefully in the near future, I'll get to see you. I'm also going to be attending Mish Aesthetics Training the Trainer course in Long Beach, I think, or Anaheim. I don't know. I think it's Long Beach. As well as Riona She Trademarks is having a vision board manifestation networking event in January. I'm excited about that.
As you guys can tell, Ashley's very busy.
Yes, so I'll be traveling a lot. So no matter where you are in the world, I should be, I'm thinking of, I might be planning a group Lash course in Florida, in West Florida. So not like Miami, the other side. Hopefully in the summer, but we'll see. So anyways, yeah, that's what we've got going on. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this and you got something out of it. This is probably our last episode of the year. So thank you guys so much. We had made so many connections this year from the podcast, and we've gotten so much good feedback. That's really what pushed us to start filming of the podcast. And honestly, like, we would not be doing this if you guys weren't giving us such good feedback. I mean,
yeah, for sure. I know I needed it. I needed someone to
tell us.
Yeah, for sure.
Because sometimes Hakeem is not a plant the seed and like watch it grow person. He's a very impatient person. So if he doesn't feel like he's like,
if I don't feel like I'm getting it right now, I don't know if I want to do it. He doesn't want to do it.
I'm very patient. I'm like, it'll come around. But yeah, so thank you guys, those of you who reached out. Again, we really appreciate every comment, every review. If you could share this to your social media, link it, we would really, really appreciate it. Again, we don't get paid from this right now. So it's just to share the knowledge. Hopefully you guys get to grow with us. Maybe next time there'll be like a little piece of art right here. Cool, or who knows, you know, leave the comments like what you think we should put. Should we put, I got a little candle. I have a little candle right here. But maybe we should, I don't know, we should put like our logo back there. No, that's kind of cheesy, huh? I don't know. Help us, guys. We're learning through this too. So anyways, thank you so much, everyone. Till next time.
See you guys later.
Bye.